And as of right now, we all know Joel Embiid is kind of top of the list. This whole thing with his knee, I'm going to just start off and give my thoughts on this whole knee issue. Number one, this thing's obviously been bothering him from the get-go. The more I think about it, I was clear that he went to the Olympics and he was healthy when he went to, or somewhat healthy when he went to the Olympics, and then was going to just join in and be fine. That was not the case, obviously. The case is that his knee must have still been bothering him. He still went to play in the Olympics. And then we get to the regular season, and let's face it, it's been here, there, not much of anywhere else for Joel Embiid. The team is not playing good basketball whatsoever, and obviously a lot of that hangs on his shoulders. But what it really does come down to right now is if that knee is really bothering him, and there's something that can be done surgically, get it done now. That's the best way I could put this. Because when I think about this whole thing and put it into a big fishbowl, what are we doing this year? What are you really looking for? Are you looking to sneak into a playoff spot and maybe get in the play-in game, and all of a sudden you're the miracle team like the Heat did a few years back, and all of a sudden you're in the finals? I'm not sure that's happening here. I really don't. I'm a firm believer that if you're not 100%, if you're not 90%, you shouldn't be on the court. 90% and above, I could see being on the court. There's a difference between, being hurt, being injured. I get that. I get the whole thing. But to me, in this case, I have a problem with Joel Embiid being on the court. He hasn't shown that he's ready to go. He hasn't shown that he's got that extra step. As a matter of fact, he's told us he hasn't. And when that starts happening, when the player starts coming out and saying that he's not himself, that bothers me in itself, because I'm one that should talk. I pitched with a torn labrum for 3 years and thought it was going to get better. I just had this thing, well, with rehab, it'll get better and better and better. No, it was called masking. All I was doing was masking my injury for years. And if I would have known that, from the get-go, from the beginning, maybe I don't bother, or maybe I take an early half year off, come back the next year, and I would have been 100% healthy. And that's where I think we stand right now with this Joel Embiid thing. I'm sitting on the edge thinking to myself, where do we want to go from here? Is this guy ever going to be healthy? Because that's what comes into my mind. Is he ever going to be healthy? We've seen this. I know a lot of the injuries that he's had in the past have not been his quote-unquote fault. This one, again, you have surgery, you come back, and nothing's working right. I'm in the situation where you fold this one under. You're 14 games under 500, whatever they are right now. I'm not even thinking about using Joel Embiid right now if I'm Nick Nurse. And if I'm the Sixers, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we just sit him down. Let's get him completely fixed so that you have an extra 4 or 5 months on the front end here where he could start getting things going, where he is 100% healthy. And that's just how I feel. I don't believe this guy should be in any lineup right now, and he's telling us that. And when you tell people that, it kind of, to me, it just says, why? That's my biggest question here is, why?
Well, I think the Sixers are prolonging the inevitable, Ricky. When you have a player like Joel Embiid, who's only played 19 out of 56 games, it's the left knee, it's the foot sprain. He just never was himself. And I think right now, when you look at what the Sixers are doing right now, they're not generating any kind of traction. They're not going anywhere this year. So I think it really behooves the Sixers to shut him down, allow him to get right, and really be able to kind of get his career back on track. Because right now, this version of Joel Embiid, when have you ever seen Joel Embiid be pulled from a game in the fourth quarter because what he's giving you is not good enough?
When have you ever seen a ticket for $2 to a Sixers game?
Never.
You can get one tonight.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
No.
That's where we stand right now. The fans are trying to tell you something. Get everybody healthy, then come back and try it again. Or change things up in the offseason and see if you can't better this team somehow.
He's getting injections, and I know they're going to undergo tests this week. But
let me ask you something. Wouldn't you think the ultimate test is actually happening now?
Yeah. The test is on the court.
Right.
He clearly doesn't have much left.
He can't go long.
He can't go.
He can't go for more than a week.
A week. And he's not going back to back. We know that. So the most games he's getting in a week is 3. And that's the very most.
And look at his mental health as well.
Yeah.
Taking a huge toll.
You know what?
point.
And I think that's the thing, because I still look at him as a great player. I think he is a great player somewhere down in there. But if he never gets healthy, we're never going to see that guy again. And that bothers me.
Yeah, he's one of the best big men to ever play the game. I feel very confident in saying that. And it's unfortunate to see this version of Joel Embiid. I think, as we talked about, you got to just shut it down. You're not playing for anything
We're
right now.
talking about a guy that was an MVP.
Right. And I'm sure we'll talk about this, but there's a misconception that, he doesn't care as much. No, he very much cares about, he wants to be out there. He knows that he's not playing to his best ability. So I think there's a misconception out there from some that maybe he's just kind of going through the motions, which is not the case.
I don't think he's going through the motions. I just think he has nothing in the tank right now.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between that. I mean, you're talking about a guy that could dominate a game. Last year, a couple years back, the MVP year, he could dominate a game himself. Mm-hmm. You don't fall that far from grace just because, something went a little wrong. This is going further than that. And to me, it's like, get him healthy. Do something to get him on the right track. And if the Sixers continue to play him, I don't think that's going to be the answer.
No, I agree with you. And I don't understand why there's some deliberation this week, the undergoing testing and all that. I think it's very clear where they need to go, what direction they need to take, and prioritizing his health and really his future, his career.
Yeah, we're gonna. By the way, that voice you're hearing right there is Andrew DeCecco. Well, you can see him too, I guess, if you're on NBC. But we have Andrew DeCecco in today. Ty is out until Wednesday. Silvana is behind the glass as usual. And we're going to talk a little bit about that Sixers and what they would look like without him. I mean, they've had the big three together in the last 5 games. They lost all 5. So it's just one of those things where things haven't gone well.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.